Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever had one of those brilliant, lightning in a bottle ideas for a product, but then you just get, well, totally overwhelmed by the thought of turning that spark into something real? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. It's a tricky process for sure, but it absolutely does not have to be a mystery. Today, we're going to break down the blueprint for getting it right, turning that super complex journey into a clear, actionable plan. Let's dive in. It all really boils down to this one question, doesn't it? What is the secret sauce? Is it just dumb luck? Or maybe perfect timing? A giant budget? And yeah, while those things can certainly help, the real difference, the thing that separates the products that just take off from the ones that fizzle out, is almost always the plan, the blueprint. It's all about having a deliberate, structured approach that guides you from that first idea all the way to your customer. So where do we even begin? Well, we start with the very first building block of our blueprint, the foundation. And you know what that foundation is? It's a crystal clear, everyone agrees on it definition of what success actually is for your project. I know, it sounds almost ridiculously simple, but I promise you, this is the most critical and, honestly, the most frequently skipped step in the entire process. I mean, just think about it for a second. If your engineers think success is a totally bug-free app, but your marketing team thinks it's hitting 100,000 downloads, you're already pulling in completely different directions. You're not on the same team anymore. So everyone, and I mean everyone, needs a single shared vision of what that finish line looks like. You have to define good before a single line of code is ever written. So what do these success factors typically look like? Well, your first job is to get everybody on the same page about them. It's usually stuff like this. Is there a real painful market need we're solving? Do we have a viable business model, or is this just a cool side project? Can we actually build this thing and build it well? And do we have a believable plan to actually get it into the hands of our customers? Getting alignment on these isn't just checking a box. It's about creating a shared reality. It's totally non-negotiable. Okay, so once you've defined success in those big picture terms, it's time to build the framework around it. This is where we take that vision and make it tangible. We turn it into something you can actually measure your progress against. And yeah, this famous quote, often credited to Peter Drucker, pretty much says it all. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. There's a reason this is at the heart of product management. See, vague goals just lead to vague results. If you want real, actual growth, you need hard numbers and clear criteria to guide you. It's what brings you from chaos to clarity. So how do you do it? Well, it's a pretty simple three-step process. First, define your key metrics. And you gotta be ruthless here. Focus on the numbers that measure real user value, like daily active users or conversion rates, not just those feel-good vanity metrics like total signups. Second, set clear benchmarks. Don't just say, we want more users. Say, we're going to increase weekly active users by 15% this quarter. And third, you track that progress obsessively, and you have to be ready to iterate. This framework isn't a report card, it's your product's compass. All right, so a blueprint and a compass are absolutely essential, but they don't actually build anything by themselves, right? For that, you need an engine. And in product development, that engine is your team. The human element is what turns that brilliant plan into a brilliant reality. This is so crucial. You can have the best plan in the world, but if it's executed by a dysfunctional team, it's almost certainly going to fail. On the flip side, a fantastic team can often take a mediocre plan and turn it into gold. They're the ones solving the unexpected problems, innovating on the fly, and just pushing through the tough stuff. It really all boils down to this. The people are everything. Now, what's really cool here is we can see the DNA of a winning team. They have a shared vision. This is what separates what we call missionaries from mercenaries. See, missionaries truly believe in the why. Mercenaries are just there for the paycheck. They have complementary skills, so all the bases are covered. They have strong, open communication. And so importantly, they have psychological safety. That's an environment where it's okay to take risks, to challenge ideas, and even to fail sometimes, because that's where the real innovation happens. Every great engine needs a driver, right? And every great team needs a leader. So the final piece of our blueprint is about finding that captain, the product leader who's going to steer the ship. But how in the world do you spot one? Well, you do it by taking the guesswork and, let's be honest, your own personal biases out of the equation. Instead of just going with a gut feeling about who seems like a leader, you can use a tool called a rubric. It's basically just a simple grid that forces you to assess people against a consistent and objective set of criteria. It's a system for making smarter, fairer decisions about the most important role on your team. Here's a quick example of what that looks like. For a trait like vision, you're not just looking for someone who talks a good game. You're looking for someone who consistently connects everything back to the why and actually inspires people. The red flag, someone who only ever talks about a list of features. For execution, you want a decisive problem solver who clears the path, not someone who gets stuck in analysis paralysis or starts blaming others when things go sideways. Using a structure like this just makes your whole evaluation process so much more rigorous and fair. Okay, we've covered a ton of ground, so let's do a quick recap and put all of these pieces together to form our complete blueprint for product development success. It all starts right here with the foundation. This isn't just some document, it's the shared reality your whole team agrees on. It's what winning looks like. Next up, you build the framework. You turn that big vision into measurable criteria so you have a compass to keep you on course. Then, you power the whole thing with the engine, a team of missionaries, not mercenaries, who are all in on the vision and feel safe enough to innovate. And finally, you find your captain. You use objective tools, like a rubric, to identify a true leader who can guide that team to its destination. So there you have it, the 4 essential blocks for building a successful product. A shared definition of success, a clear framework for measurement, a missionary team, and empowering leadership. So as you think about your own projects, ask yourself this: what's the first block you need to strengthen in your blueprint? Because focusing on that one area just might be the key that unlocks your next big success. Thanks for watching.